Do you feel better about it? It's too crazy? It's still a bit really strange, right? So we learned Boolean. What else? New repo in Ruby. Continue with Ruby. Okay. Let's just link. So last lecture we learned Boolean. It's a logical operator, right? Operators. What else did we learn?
Falsy.
Yeah, this weird thing. Okay, so that's under Boolean. We revisit. We talk about strings and array again, right? We revisited arrays and strings, as you can see in your homework. So very quickly, the Boolean thing, initially you only have true and false, and then because it's true or false, so you start making comparison, and they are true or false, right? So that's true. This is false because they are different structure, data types. But then of course you know that this is it true or false? Right, it's true. But that's not enough sometimes. When we say, we learn that, is it a digit, and you take a number, you want to be able to return something simple. You say this number has to be greater than 0, and this number has to be less than 10, for example. So then you can comment here, return true if number is 1 to 9, right? Otherwise, returns false. For example, this is what the method does, right? Sometimes you want to, do some check. For example, now you can filter. So let's say, remember I give a homework that print all the numbers bigger than 5. But now, for example, get digits, and then I get it from a number, from an array of number, right? Print only numbers that are digit. Then what do? We say numbers dot each do, and then let's say this number is n. If, of course, you can say is digit number n, then you can say you can put n. Now look at that method. Does it make sense? In the past, we know, we could just write that if n is greater than 0 and n is less than 10. This is very easy to read, right? But sometimes for a new person, you may not want to explain this to that person. So you write a method up here. And then down here, this is called refactor. Change your code, you just say is digit number. Okay? So this still returns true or false. So in homework, you realize that, oh, I have another way if I use map. Well, but let's not get there yet. Maybe I give that as a homework to use map. So next, we also learn at the end of the lecture something called say hi name equals nil. This is a way to define a method that take 0 or 1 argument. Right? Sometimes you hear the word parameter. It's the same thing. Unfortunately, just don't worry about the two different names. And then here we will say if name here is not true or false. It's whether it's nil or not nil. So you can say if name is nil, then you say hi stranger, right? If not, then you say welcome back name. Okay? So for example, if you build a website and when someone go to that website, you check whether the user is logged in or not. If you realize that this user exists, then you say welcome back Loy. But if the user is not there, you don't know who that person is. Usually that's because it's the first time a user logs in. Then you say, hi, stranger, welcome, guest. Okay? So this, however, checking this is a little silly. In Ruby, they say, well, if it's not nil, it's something. So you can remove the word name here. And this is what you see a lot. If name, this means the same thing as if it's not nil and it is not false. Right? That's why we have to think of, this. When do you see this this line executed, right? When is this line run? Only this line run when name is not nil, right? But if name is false here, it's also bad, right? So or when name is not nil, also run when name is not false. Everything else, if name has a value or name is true or anything else, it runs here, right? But because we never use true or false, so in this case, it's only when name is a string. Lo, you can.
I thought line purpose runs if it is nil. Name is nil. They'll say actually.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for earlier. I wanted to check this. My bad. Oh, so you're right. So earlier was this, right? So thank you for catching my mistake. So when here is when name is nil. Oh, sorry. And then here, or when name is false. But we never really pass in say hi false, right? But this one of these two conditions. Thank you so much for correcting that. Otherwise, it's so confusing. Down here, this is when name is not nil, right? Well, it's not nil, but also when it's not false. So this is a bit confusing there, right? When it's not false, then if you say hi false, it would still go hi stranger. It just somehow when you put in a condition like this, nil and false are similar. And that's when this thing is called, falsy. Or you can say, instead of false, it's falsy. Falsy means it's either false or nil. Right? It's like, in English, if something is pretty, then you say it's pretty. If something is like pretty, but it's not pretty, but kind of pretty, then you say it's pretty-ish. Right? It's like something like that. So here is false, false-ish. And it's faster to just say falsy. Maybe you can call it fake. But and down here, well, if name is true, it will go where? Oh my god, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna mess it up again. So when name is nil, oh, I just keep messing this up. So when name is nil, I need to say welcome back, no? When name exists, there you go. So when name, oh, I had it right earlier. Boy, my bad. So this is easier to understand, no? If name exists, if it's not nil, then say welcome back. If this one returns false or nil, right? Then if name cannot run, so it will not run this line 30, it will go here. So this is the truth, what? Truthy condition. This is the falsy case. Try it on your browser. If you want this to work in the past, it would be like if name is not nil, right? Then you check here. The problem is if name is false, you're down here. So you want name is not false, something like that. Then it goes here, right? But you can do that with a shortcut, just because Ruby reads like English, right?
If there's anything inside of name,
If there's name, then print. Well, we don't have true false, but I'm just explaining that after if name is false, it still go back. That's the part that's a bit confusing.
wait, what if name is false, it'll still execute lines 28 through 31?
No.
Okay,
But if you do this, then it will execute line 31 if name is nil. Because false is still different from nil.
okay.
So that's the part that is not nice. False, not nil, is still true. But you say, if false and if nil, they will get the same result. Try this on your browser. Say hi. So I'm going to run this right now. Say, puts, right? Say hi. Oh no, there's no need to say put anymore. So I say hi, nil. No need argument. What happened? Where's my true false thing? Oh, not here. All right. So see, if I do say hi, no argument. If I say hi, I pass in parentheses, no argument. What is the result? It's exactly the same, line 40 and 41, right? If I say hi, then it will say welcome back. If I say hi, normally my method only either get one string or nothing. It's a little dangerous that here I can just say hi to one, but no one write that code, right? It will just say welcome back one. If I say hi to true, I will say that, right? Because I just convert this into a string. Okay? What if I say hi false? What do you think? Well, it will say hi stranger because if name, right, it will go to hi stranger. However, so maybe the right way to do it is like this. If name, then it will come back false. But because we never write welcome back, say hi false, right? It just either way, it still doesn't make sense. Welcome back true false. So people tend to just use this. If name, okay? Does it make sense? True false thing? Are you sure it makes sense?
I think you should give an example of if like something is false.
If something then false.
So like just put like if 5 is greater than 10.
Mm-hmm. Wait, that's here. No?
No, so
Wait.
I was just thinking
So one more thing here. If say hi Neil, then what happens? Hi stranger, right? So we kind of understand that logic. Now here, let me say n 5, like let's say what Loy said, like that. 5 is greater than 10.
Can you delete name?
Huh? It's always because this is greater is stronger than this one. So it will run this and then this is false. Anything n false will be false. So it becomes if false. That's why you always have hi stranger. So for example, instead of 5 greater than 10, right? You can say my mood good, for example, right? Or maybe, my mood, I just say my mood. My mood can be, my mood here is, if my mood is true, good, right? Good mood, maybe good mood. Then everything works. But suddenly one day I just feel like I'm in a, good mood right here. I'm in a bad mood. Then everyone, I'll just say hi stranger. It happens, right? If sometimes you don't want to run the code in here, right? You like, I want to test the code in this line. Then you just say, well, if name and false. Then you know that automatically this never get run. this is a good way to test your code, so to play with it. Instead of, oh, I have to comment out this, line, I have to comment like this and this. That's more work. So I just say if, it's false. Okay? Alright, so that's very quickly what we did last time. For today, we will learn hash and classes. Before we go there, I'm going to review the homework just a little bit. Okay? This is exercise 3.2 on maps. So, can you raise your hand if you read all the text I wrote here? There's a lot of text on the right hand side. Did you guys read this part? Did you guys read everything? Can you maybe nod your head? Raise your hand, help you stay awake. Did you read it? No, not yet. Okay. See, it's helpful because I know then I can go slower if needed. So here I'm not going to explain again, but you read here. Tell me, do you understand this instruction on this map thing? So kind of understand, and then you apply it to your exercise. Okay, let's look at the exercise. For in this submission, the total method is, we all know how to write this by now. This looks good, right? And you can use the shorter version if you like, right? You can open the curly brace here, and then this one line. Then, did you notice the test method? So you can do something like this yourself too, right? You write a method that basically check, it's very easy for me to test. I can add any of this as a test case. I pass in an array, I test the sum of this, and I know the result has to be 0. I pass in this array, and I know that, I call test total, and I run it. But notice how we write the method test total. Total will take the same input, right? And then you check. But here, notice you should bring it back in, okay? Delete this, go back 2 spaces, delete this, okay? Don't add spaces here. This is the same line. Ellie, is it this one clear? Okay, so I don't have to show it, right? Delete this, delete, delete, and then so that this one go delete here, so that this n is the same column as def, okay? So you see this is checking result, and then you can print out. I want to print the arrays of, the number array here, numbers array. I want to print like in the format of square bracket and A, comma, B, comma, C. That's why I use inspect in it. Is that okay? So sometimes this is nicer, right? If you don't, let me show you. If I have an array 1, 2, 3, and if I say A equals, and then like this, okay? Then what happens? Uh-oh, I did it wrong. Hey, what happens? Put A equals that. Oh, it still worked. Oh well. Huh, still works. But then put A is like this. I want A.inspect. Then it's, it convert A into a string. Normally A, look at this. Alright? But inspect convert A into a string, so it's easy for me to see what to check. We will learn more about inspect when you use a hash, for example. So you learned that test total. So there's this case. Is it a right test? Seems wrong. The total of 1 and 2 is 4. Huh? So you want to test, right? Good. So Ellie here is testing our test method. Right? You're just checking that, hey, this testing, if you put a wrong input, test actually return wrong.
Because the first, when I did the total and copy all the answers and then all the results
Uh-huh. You want to try different inputs. Nice. No, it's good job. Now, when you submit though, if you leave it here, then when Lloyd reviews the code, he's like, wait, when I run, I see a wrong thing here, right? So he's a little confused that why you have one test that did not pass. But actually just because you're just checking that the test is doing what you expect. Okay, this is the cool part. Do you guys see this? When I want to find the total of the square of the numbers. So don't leave the space here, okay? After the method, open parentheses. But you see, you can take numbers and you map it. Now you have a new array. So if it's 1, 2, 3 as an array, the result will be 1, 4, 9. So instead of, maybe if you write it in 2 lines, you will write squares equal this. But because it's 1 line, you don't need an extra variable. You just map it and then you call total on it. Right? So that's really cool. And you notice that now we write this test method is exactly the same. I just need to use a different method here. Right? So we test. Square of nothing is that, but if you have one number, 1 square is 1. Right? 1 square plus 2 square, 1 square, 1 square, 9, etc. You notice that I did not want to calculate myself. So I just put it here. Maybe it's quite clear to read. So then all your tests pass like this. You see these guys? They pass. Okay? From 1 to 10, I calculate because I don't want to write 1 square plus 2 square plus 3 square, all the way. Okay? There are faster ways, but I'm not showing you yet. Alright, so here Ellie purposely write something wrong here so she can check that square total, right, is 5 and it's checking with 6. Right? That's cool. Great. So I just challenge you to think when you use map and each together. Do you feel that you know a little bit more about the difference between .each and .map? A little bit more? Do you know the difference? Okay, there's still some confusion, right? I am going to very quickly here show you that if I have an array, okay, there's an array, maybe an artist or something, right? And if I use each, it's because, let's say an element, right? You can call it anything. I want to do something with each element in there. And then after that, I'm done. So for example, you can say puts, for example, the element at, I don't know, maybe I just say current element, right, is element. And then if I run it, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. And normally that's it. Okay? But you see this 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end is because after you run line 54, it still returns some result. So after you run each, it doesn't affect A. It just look into the content inside A, but it still return A. Okay? Because it returned A, here you can actually do another .each if you want. Right? But maybe you want the parentheses around here so it's easier to see. Right? I don't know, maybe let's say each again. Because it's just A, right? So each do, and then you can put, try again. This is, I just name it a different variable. Maybe this will be, we'll see. Oh, it works. So you run that and then you can try again. Right? Lloyd, can I use .map next?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Alright, so let's say now I use one line. In here there's one element. And then here I say E times E. Okay? What happens after I run this? I'm not printing anything else, so you get exactly the same. the green text will change, right? So what will it change to?
2, 4.
All right, so this. However, if now I write this and if I run again, what happens?
Still the original.
Then you get what you had just now before this. So what happened here? I did a map, but I produced a new array. Okay, if you do exclamation mark here, it will change A. So normally I say don't change A, okay? Just create a new one. If you really want it, you can say B equals A, this is B equals. And then now you can print B. A, that's A, and then you can put B. And of course I want to see the the inspect version. So then here you see this is A, this is B. So map returns a different value. It's a new thing. Each, you tend to do something inside each. So do you want to print this one?
No.
You can, but if you do put here, what does this one return? Nil, so that's not good. Then you map an array of 5 elements to 5 nil. And that's why if I run this, you see B is a bunch of nil. But if you print it, it's okay if the second line here, I just put 99. Okay? So it print, but then after that it still return 99 because it's the last line of text. Right? It's the last statement. Then if I run here, you see that it's all 99. Okay? So let me convert this into multiple line. It's the same, okay? Do, and then you put here as another line, and then this is another line, and then this is n. It's still the same, right? Is it the same?
Yeah.
It's the same, but instead of 99, if I still return EE, then what are you doing here? You get what you want, but you still can print just like you did each. So map returns a different value, right? But inside, before the final thing, you can still do something if you really want to print and really want to look inside and see what it does. But for map, the last line here is important because it returns the value for each element. For each up here, does it really care if you type element times 100 here? What happens? It gets run and then it also forget. It doesn't care, right? For example, here if you say save to database, then it cares because it makes changes somewhere else. But here you're just doing some 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6 and you never give it to any variable, so it doesn't care. Okay? So in each, that's why sometimes you see puts, because all you care about is going into each and do something to the element. With map, what you care about is this element, I want to map it to something else. So that's why for map, it's about I have an array of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm mapping to 1 times 1, 2, 2 times 2. So that's the idea of map. Right? Is it a little clearer? Okay, so this is E. This is your E, and you can call it element, you can call it anything. And you can use the short version or you can use the do and version. If you use do and, make sure this is the last statement in that do and block. Anything you do before that, it will run, but it can print, but it's not useful, right? You may not need it. Okay, so let's look at this. This is cool. Roses are red, violets are blue is one string, and then map is easy. Make me easy. Oh, this is so cool. Someone made a poem. Did you make this or did I make it? I forgot. I don't know. But this is cool. Let's see. So you map, right? Each of this is a sentence, right? And then you capitalize the sentence. This is nice. This is perfect. So you map from two sentences or any number of sentences. They're not capitalized, so now each of them is capitalized. And then you go into each one of them. And then because it's too long, so you use do and instead of using this. So into each one of them you print. Right? So now, do you know you can use map with index? So there's each underscore index. It's the same as each dot with index. So now you learn there's map dot with index if you like to know what the index is. Are we clear on this one? And sometimes it's cool if you do this, then you remember the ranking. Now you have a very short way. If this is a variable, what would you name this variable? Singers, right? And after that, you do singers.map blah blah blah, it becomes something else. It doesn't become singers anymore, right? It becomes, let's say, ranking, or because it will be this list. If you name it singers, someone may misunderstand. Because when they call singers 1, it's like this 1 dash Adele and they don't know what 1 is. So this variable should have a different name. That's why it's called ranking. Right? Great. So work, eat, sleep. You like here, you can, someone explain to me. Ellie, can you explain to me what are you doing with to do here? Okay, great. First, you have the number of tasks. So maybe you can call this tasks. And then after that, you do task.map and blah, blah, blah. You can convert that into another array called to do. The difference, to do has priorities in it. To do has 1, 2, 3. The priority number. Yeah? So you convert data from one type into another. Okay, so that's map. Do we want to look at the other exercise or are we good with that one? Sorry, can you say louder? Yeah?
Why will you index?
Mm.
Of course, to have an output, but I can understand why we need to use the index in the math.
Yeah, you don't need to. That's why people don't build map underscore with index. You use with when?
When will we use the index?
Yeah. Okay, good. So when do we use it? So let's say maybe in your program you have these people. Okay, but your manager, the project, they want something like this, right? They don't want a print, they want a string. They want you to save this string into a file. I don't know, right? So basically now you're thinking, I don't want to use each because each I can print to screen. But what my boss say is that I want this input, which is I have this singers thing. But output, the boss say this is called ranking or ranked singers, or this is called, like, you know, names, something like that. So it makes sense, no?
Give me all types of different things that you might need to make lists for.
Right. Let's say.
Most biggest city in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Square, all types of stuff.
Let's say you want to map from something called like I don't know, this one, and you want to add something. That's your input, but you want to, you care about the index, right? So maybe first you want to sort, okay? You want to sort them, and then you want to map this into something like this. I don't know, like maybe this is 3, this is 2. So this is like, if I have to sort them alphabetically, this one is the first. No, I don't know, but it's not common. Just to explain that you can use index with map too. You are right, most of the time you don't need it. Okay? After you map, then you can start using index again, So you don't have to do map dot with index. You can still map with the element first, and you do something to element, you return it, right? And then you can say each with index. And then you can take that elements and then the index, and then you do something about it. Right? There's no need for map with index. I don't know. Right? Of course, the problem with this each with index is that it returns the same array. The cool thing about map is that now after you run map, it returns the new array. That each element of the array is what you put in here. Okay? So that's a recap on that. Let me get our exercise, the other exercise. I think we finished that one, right? Yeah. The other exercise, let's say I look at Quý now. Oh, this is so silly. I cannot scroll to the right. Oh, I have to click this one? Lloyd knows the tool better than I do. Here, right? Fun strings method, right? Okay. So, by now, so this is optional if you want. But now you see that with lines like this, it seems so difficult when we first learned. Now it's so easy. How do you join two sentences? You have line 1, you have line 2, so you just put them into an array and then you just say join them.
Can we have any method to push the element into the array? Not dot.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
Example line 1 and line 2, we don't need to have we don't need to tie that line 1 and line 2 into array.
Mm-hmm.
Say something else.
Absolutely. You can. It's easy, but I can show you now, but okay. Because you asked that question, okay? But don't worry if you don't get it yet. So, no, you can definitely use it. But if you don't, if anyone feel like this is a bit crazy, then it's fine. So, let's say I have write a very clever total number. And my total number here, I should be able to say total of 1, total of 1, 2, total of 1, 2, 3. Is that what you're saying? Same thing with join sentences, right? Then here I can just say, arguments, right? Sentence. Maybe it can be 1 sentence or 2 sentences. And what happens? I can say join sentences. Hey, cool, right? I don't need to put them into an array. Like, yo, and then I can have what? And then we'll talk about this one. So that's your question, right? All right. So before that, let's finish this. You learned that, you don't have to know what index is. All you have to do is map the thing inside here. So before you join, make sure you map. And then you take this element E, and then you E dot capitalize, right? And then you join. Alright, so let me give you this array. I'll just give you this feedback right here. Right. So instead of this whole long thing, right? Instead of this whole long, I don't care about index, right? I can. By the way, array here is already an array, so you don't need this, okay? If you do that, then it's kind of wrong. You also don't need about this. You don't need this index. So good that you asked the question. Do you need index? All you care about is you see line here. It's the same as your array index. So because you learn C, but array index is the same thing as line, right? But line, you are mapping from line to line dot capitalize. So why not use map, right? And then you don't need index. So after that, then you don't. This is the same. This is good. You don't need index, right? So you can see from this function on the left to here, it's a little shorter. Let's make it even shorter. Oh well, technically I can do join right up here, so I don't need this array. I just reuse it, right? So there's join. But technically up here I don't need array because I just put it directly there. So I don't need array, right? Okay. Well, technically I only have one line, so I don't need this do. So I just change this to this. I even can change this to maybe instead of line element, just call it L dot capitalize. It's the same, right? So I can get rid of this line. And then, well, finally, I can just do join here. You see how this even it's shorter, but it's not difficult to read. It's very easy to read. You take one line, two lines into array, map it into this, and then you join it. Ruby even give you a faster, shorter way than doing this because you see something dot something. You can pass in the name of the method, but I'm not going to teach you that yet.
Is it the same as task 3?
No, I haven't taught you how to do.
I use this method as task 3.
Oh, where? So yeah, remember, you don't use the square bracket thing, right? And use map, okay? So task 3. All right, so I'm going to go take a look at you can improve this one. It's good. Not complete. Okay, I gave some update there. All right, back to. I'm gonna go to Ellie's one because you mentioned task 3. Where's exercise 4? Oh, this is annoying. Oh, is that this fun here, right? And let's take this exercise. Okay, Ellie, I'm gonna look at yours. Okay, so you say task 3. Great, right? So you can call line dot capitalize directly, or you can call this, yeah. But you understand how to use it now, right? Dot map is very useful. Right? There is a shorter way. You don't even need this curly braces, but I'll teach you that next time. Okay. So you see how sometimes if it's not clear to you, you can use extra variables. Remember array or something. But sometimes if it's clear to you, you can just use a really long line like this, as long as you understand it. But I don't like this very much. Okay, lines.map, and then you viết hoa đầu câu, you capitalize each line, right? But in here, what are you doing here, right? You are just reversing that line. You already did that up here with backwards. Alright, so it's the same. And you see in backwards, you take advantage of two words. Right? So when someone read your code, if that person read this, that person may be like, wow, this person is so smart, but the code is too difficult for me to read. However, if you change this to backwards, it's like, oh, I see, this person tried to viết hoa đầu câu each line, but in each line, this person run the method called backwards. Let's go and read what backwards is. And that person go and read backwards. Oh, it's really clear what backwards is trying to do. Convert a sentence into words reverse it, and then you join them. And then you say, oh, but what is two words? Does it do what I think it does? And then you read, of course, sentences are split. Okay, a sentence, if you split, the default character to split a sentence is a space. You can split a sentence by a comma, by anything else, if you pass in an argument. Remember, I don't know if you use Excel, and sometimes you can save an Excel to a file called CSV, comma separated values. These are values that take 1, 2, 3 in each line. And the program can go in there and read one line and call dot split, comma, then it can read all the values into an array. You have seen the CSV thing, right? It's the simple text format. Alright. Hello? This is Niraj, Ruby on Rails teacher starting Monday. They can be your students, if they study really well in this class. Alright. Any question there? So we can wrap up the homework part, right? Let's take a very quick break and we'll get into the new materials. We'll learn hash and class.